right, rock stars. This term, we signal a slight addition to our course because we're getting super serious now about turning you into authors. What we want to see at Scribble Inc. is walking through Garden City, if you're holding someone's hand, walking through Garden City, go, look at that. And we'll look on a bookshelf and a big poster with your faces on it and your new bestseller up on the shelf called Nightmare at Scribble Inc. or something like that, right? Awesome. I can't wait to see you guys become authors. You know why? It's going to happen. Let me read you something from the previous group. Standing in the dense cave entrance, Katrina adjusted her bag straps, pulled her knee-high socks up, and wrapped herself in her maroon parka jacket as her hair danced through the wind. She looked like a real adventurer with a folded manual map Kathmandu backpack and 2 hiking sticks that were clutched tightly by her sweaty hands. Deep inside her, fear arose, and all sounds, the voices of several seagulls communicating, the scratching of leaves, ceased as she questioned herself about entering. Warning her, memories flickered through her mind. The news articles informing locals about disappearances, the stern voice of her parents reminding her of the many conspiracy theories in the area. That's genius writing. That honestly, that could come off the pages of a novel, right? That's where we're at. That's where you guys are at. This is what Scribble Inc. is all about. Professional writing. Now you might go back to school and say, oh yeah, but Mr. C, I'm still getting this mark, or my writing isn't improving that much, or whatever. Trust me, we're rewiring the brain. We're exposing you to author techniques. Now understand this. Who plays an instrument? All right, who's been playing for more than a year? All right, here's the biggest question. Who thinks they're pretty good? Pretty good now. Pretty good. Better than when you started. Hands up. Who's better? All right. Now show me on a hand, how many hours a week do you do? Now, you probably do 1 hour. Some of you might even do 5 hours. Can you show me on one hand how much practice you do a week? Think about it. Count them up. How much hours? Show me. 5, 3, 2. Does anyone do more than 5? No? 4, 3, 5. Okay. The reason you're better than when you started is because of the intense practice, the continual practice. I need you to understand this. The caudate nucleus at the top of the brain, everyone has one, and you all have the same sort of one, right? You all have the same caudate nucleus. If you're a sports person, it stores the information of all the skills that you can do in sport to get good at it. Sport, it becomes instinctive, right? If I was playing basketball and someone was dribbling the ball towards me and the hoop was behind me, my caudate nucleus would have prepared a bunch of defensive maneuvers that I won't even have to think about. I can just do it. When I play an instrument, the caudate nucleus, the same thing, stores all that information to be able to play a song automatically. Our writing skills that are stored there at the moment are the basic level ones from school, right? What we're doing with this practice is we are uploading a brand new set of skills, author techniques. All this stuff in this book, it's advanced. Honestly, grade 12ers would not be doing this stuff. They won't be. It's advanced. I got these techniques, the structures, from actual published famous authors' work. This is the real deal. This is the stuff that can take your writing to sellable heights, where you could sell your stuff, sell your short stories, write a book and sell it. That's what we're giving you here. Has it happened yet? No, of course not. You know, to play an instrument and get good at it, what, 2 years? 3 years? I don't know. How long before you could do a stage all by yourself clarinet or violin or piano. It's years of practice. Please understand, writing is exactly the same thing, uploading to exactly the same place. And when you've done, say for example, when you've done 100 quadruple verbs, it will stick. When you've done 100 triple descriptors, M-dash descriptors, the 4 memories technique, they're going to stick. So our goal, by the time you get to grade 11 and 12, you don't need that book anymore. You can just do it, right? That's when your teachers are going to go, oh my goodness. Some of you are already getting that at school because it's starting to stick. How does it stick easier? I'll tell you. If you were an A student already, you have lots of pathways, writing ones up here. So when we introduce new ones, they stick easier. If you're a C, you have less of those complex writing pathways. It takes longer for these techniques to stick. It's really simple. Hands up if you know this. If I play violin, and I've been playing a long time and I'm good, and then I want to go learn cello, and someone who's never played an instrument goes to learn to play cello, right? So we've got an absolute no instrument ever playing cello and an expert violinist coming to play cello. Which one do you think is going to learn fastest at cello? The violinist or the beginner? Who will learn fastest, do you think? Hands up who thinks the beginner will learn the fastest. Who thinks the violinist will learn the fastest? Ah, see, you know the secret already. The people with the skills will learn the fastest. That's why A writers, boom, it happens really quick. That example I read, they're already A students. Awesome, really quick progress. I know there's people in this group over at the big table over there. Their writing is author quality, right? Because they're already good writers. So if you're a C or a B, we're going to turn you into a good writer, and then those techniques are going to stick. And it's exciting for us because you're learning early. By the time you hit 11 and 12, when it's really important to be the best writer you can be, because you know what? Probably 90% of all your high school assessment is going to be written. So even though we do lots of short story stuff, please understand these techniques are for your biology, your chemistry, your physics, your ancient history, your economics, your legal studies, your accounting, all these subjects you're going to do in grade 11 and 12. And then if you're going to uni, these techniques are going to make you awesome. It's not just about stories while you're in grade 4 and 5. No. I have uni students coming to me for practice. And I do the same stuff. Right? These are advanced techniques. Awesome. I want to introduce you to one of the biggest changes we're making this term. We're going to turn you into a professional writer with the Intensio Magnifico. Yeah, I made that name up myself. Can you get it out, please? You have it there. Here we go. Big schoolers, you're not going to be listening to me. Every week, you're going to choose either the professional character paragraph or the professional persuasive introduction, right? Think about what's happening at school in your English right now. Which one's going to be a benefit? If you're not doing either of these, then do character one week, do persuasive the next week, or make that decision. So, over to you guys. Your leaders will take you through it, okay? So, you're just practicing either one. Go. All right, the rest of us, I'm going to walk you through the character paragraph this week, okay? We're going to be practicing, and you guys, don't worry, when you've done this enough times, it's going to start sticking, okay? It's advanced, but it's going to work for you. All right. We've got the quadruple verb, triple D, M-D, 4 memories, A and Ishi, all scribbling techniques. We're going to have a go with this. So your topic, please write it down. An adolescent means a young boy or girl at grandparents' property, a big farm, discovers a cave. Write that on the topic, please. So, we have a child has anyone ever been on a property in Queensland or somewhere in Australia or another overseas? They're big blocks of land with the farmhouse on it, and maybe lots of cattle, lots of sheep, lots of goats, They might be growing crops like sorghum, wheat, and we have, so some of these properties, what suburb do you live in? Suburb. What? No. What suburb do you live in Brisbane? Sunnybank. What suburb do you live in?
Carindale.
Carindale. What suburb? Playfield. Upper Mount Gravatt. Right. Honestly, I worked 25 years as a teacher out in the country, in the rural areas. Some kids' farms, right, their house and their backyard was bigger than your whole suburb where you live. Right? So think of Stretton, Upper Mount Gravatt. Think of Sunnybank, how big that is. These kids' backyard was bigger than your whole suburb, right? Thousands of acres, they're huge. So this kid's gone to the grandparents' yard, property, and they've discovered a cave, okay? So we're going to write the character paragraph. If you've done the scribbling course, you know that we do a 6-paragraph short story. We have a who, a where, the flashback, the now, the rising tension to climax, and the resolution. We're now doing paragraph 1, the who paragraph. We're going to do it over and over and over so it starts sticking, getting in the caudate nucleus. Because right now, your writing is here at the occipital lobe where visualization occurs, okay? We want to move the wiring from here to here to make us writing champions. That's the process. Because good writing takes good thinking. Excellent writing takes excellent thinking. Lazy thinking produces lazy writing. Big difference. Okay, we're going to pause now while our leaders take us through this, and then we'll be back for the small words and the professional sentence for this lesson. Beauty. Let's go, leaders. So, hopefully, you all had a go at that professional character paragraph. And again, I want to say, don't think you have to memorize it yet. It will happen as we go over and over and over. You may not have even finished it. That's okay. We will get faster at it. We're upping the sophistication of our master classes here at Griffith on Saturdays, okay? You guys are going to benefit enormously. And as I explained to my 3 friends over here, you're taking this sheet home. If you want, finish it. If you want, have a go at another one, and then have a go at another one. The more practice you do, just like violin, just like piano, just like touch football, basketball, netball, just like singing, the better you're going to get, the faster it will happen. We already give you homework, no problem. But if your parents want to encourage you to do more work, or you want to do more work, you've got it. Do it. Have a go. Awesome.
Mr. C, what about the criteria on the bottom?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's the next step. We're going to build up to that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Down here, we've listed for you the things that we're looking for. Mate, I know what's happening right now. If I was teaching a child to play soccer and they couldn't even run, okay? I would be teaching them how to run, and I would also be teaching them skills, but to do both at the same time, mate, it is very taxing on the brain. The brain would find it difficult to cope with so much information. So, what that means for us as writers, exactly the same thing. Copying these professional sentences is taking a lot of computing power in your brain. But as it starts to happen automatically, this is our whole philosophy at Scribble Inc. And this is why it's so important to be here or join our online masterclasses or do that as well. Because the more we do this, it becomes automatic, which frees up processing power in the brain to then focus on these things. It's a big job to do both. So if you're practicing at home, I would recommend this. Focus on the structures, pick one down here. Pick one like my punctuation. I'll make sure I get my punctuation right. That's probably enough. But then, in a few weeks' time, you might pick up a second one, then a third, then a fourth. That's when you're starting to write like an author. So we've deliberately put this down for the future. It's really difficult to do it all now. We understand that. But you know what? If you had time at home, you could go through these one by one and fix up here. You could, absolutely. Our goal is to make you writing champions. We've been doing it since 2016. It's going to happen. Alrighty. Congrats on doing that work. Let's move on. Today's small words. Open your books. We have through the dense garden. Don't start it yet because you'll do the same mistake everyone's been making all week. Through the dense garden he was trudging. Awful sentence. It had gotten thicker the further he went in. Awful sentence. Butterflies were flitting above his head. Not bad. While bees buzzed were collecting. That doesn't even make sense. While bees buzzed were collecting nectar from colourful flowers. The reason I'm pausing you is for you guys, you're going to be doing an advanced technique now because we've asked you to start with a verb start and do the small words. Not just do the small words anymore. You're doing a verb start. Now you say, Mr. C, we've done this paragraph. Yeah, you have. But we're making it more complex now because we're going to make the brain do some extra thinking. So we need a verb start. Now some of you are looking at this and going, oh, there it is, trudging. Trudging through the dense garden. No. It had gotten thicker the further he went in. This is what you want to put. Trudging through the garden, the dense garden I should have put, it thickened the further he went in, right? Wrong. There's a trap. There's a big verb trap here that kids are falling into all the time. Have a look. Can anyone tell me what's wrong with that sentence? Trudging through the dense garden, it thickened the further he went in. Seems good, but there's a problem. Anyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll tell you. When you start with the verb start and you have a comma, whoever's doing the trudging must be after the comma. What have I put there? The garden. So here it is. Trudging through the garden thicker. The garden's not trudging. Can you imagine a garden trudging on it, walking on itself? A, gardens don't walk. B, if they could, they wouldn't walk on themselves. It would be a physical impossibility. I could not walk on myself, I don't think. I'm not that flexible. So, he was doing the trudging. He must be at the comma. So what are we going to say? Trudging through the garden, he thickened the further he went in? No, doesn't make a sense. So, trudging through the garden, he explored the area. Or, trudging through the thickening garden, the dense thickening garden, that deals with the thicken then. Trudging through the dense thickening garden, he explored the area. Or, he explored the further he went in. It's okay, but we need the person after the comma. Does that make sense? Don't fall into the trap. All right, we're going to take a few minutes to do this. We're going to pause, and then we'll come back for our professional sentence. Okay, go. Let's take 5 minutes. All right. The last thing we need to explain, if you're doing this at home, on Scribbling YouTube, okay? You guys can subscribe and watch this over and over for practice, okay? Everything we say and do in this class, you can go home and have a look at again. And if you do miss a class one time, jump on YouTube. It's all there. So let's have a look. We've got injected verb. The example we have, the sailors headed for shore, right? The sailors headed for shore. But we get our big syringe in the verb bucket, we suck up a phrase and we splat it on in between, just before the verb. The sailors, excited about the money they would make for the large catch of fish, headed for shore. Little scribble tip. Sometimes, more often than not, a feeling verb ends with ed. An action verb typically ends with ing, typically. But this term, we're kicking it up a little bit with an extra information adder. We're expecting you to add an information adder on the end of whatever you come up with. So you're going to be doing the diver. I've started you off. The diver surveyed the bottom of the reef, right? But then we want you to put a comma, not a full stop. Okay? We're not in grade preppy anymore. And we're going to put a where, a which, an and, a due to, a why, something else to make it sound great. And here's one from last lesson. It is genius. If I can somehow find it. Let me see. Here we go. The diver, mesmerized by the graceful movements of the small tropical fish, surveyed the bottom of the reef and stared in fascination and awe. Wow. It's genius. That is author writing from a Scribble, grade 5 Scribble Ink kid here who's been coming for, what, 2-3 terms? Brilliant. So does that make sense? We're injecting a verb phrase and then we're adding information on the end to give more details to the reader. J.K. Rowling is expert at it. She can put 10 facts in a sentence. How? By using information adders and lots of funky adjectives. Not always size and colour. So if I say use adjectives, oh, the big brown dog, the small black fish, that's size and colour, size and colour, size and colour. Why? Our lazy brains think size and colour. But J.K. Rowling's a lot better than that. She thinks textures. She thinks from where things are happening. And she makes up all these awesome adjectives, okay? And incidentally, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series, they're free on the internet for you to read. I think he's the adjective master. Best adjective user I have ever read. He is genius. So we're going to practice in this. Information adder on the end. We're right to go. And once we've done 2 or 3 of those professional sentences, we'll go back and continue with our skill sheet. Awesome. Go for it.